Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the bishops of Grey Millstone, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, Brakatham, to the 144,000 servants as well as the remaining elect of Israel. So I want to show you this clip from ITV News. It's titled, How the World Reacted to Trump's Outburst at Zelensky. And, pretty much they're going into the division that's happening between the United States and their so-called friends or their so-called allies out there in Europe. Because what went down yesterday, the war of words between Donald Trump, his vice president, J.D. Vance, and Zelensky, it didn't sit too well with America's allies out there in Europe. And what's happening right now, biblically, is the stirring up and the conjuring up of Revelation 17 and 16 concerning the beast hating the whore, okay? The whore representing America, the United States, okay? Also known as Mystery Babylon the Great. The beast in that sense represents America's NATO and EU allies, Germany, France, so on and so forth. And like I said, what went down between Donald Trump and Zelensky, didn't sit too well with their allies. And so what's happening right now is a great divide between America and Europe. And that should remind us of what our Lord Yahweh Shai said concerning division. I believe that's Matthew 12 and 25. Yahweh Shai said, a house divided shall not stand, okay? And the house that we're focusing on right now is the house of Esau, whose name was changed to Edom. Esau, Edom, all right, being the progenitor of the Edomites. The Edomites being you so-called white people, you call yourself white Americans, Europeans, Caucasians, so on and so forth. But in actual fact, you're the descendants, the sons and daughters of Esau, Edom, also known as the wicked in the Bible, okay? According to Malachi 1, verse 4. You've also got Job chapter 9, verse 24, and it tells us that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So right now, the people that's controlling this world are the Edomites. This is their kingdom, this is their rulership. And, we're seeing a great divide, a great division among these people, okay? Among the house of Esau, Edom, the Edomites. And like I said, what's happening right now is the stirring up of Revelation 17 and 16 concerning the beast hating the whore. Oh, it also says, I want to say that's Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 8, where it tells us about times and seasons. Well, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 8 says how there's a time for love and a time for hate, okay? And we're living in a time of hate. Again, Revelation 17 and 16 should come to mind, once I play you this clip. And we're also living in a time of war, okay? We're fastly approaching World War III, and ultimately World War III, which is known as the third woe in the Bible, pursuant to Revelation 11 and 14. It speaks about the second woe, which is World War II, and it says the third woe cometh quickly, the third woe representing World War III. You've also got Revelation 9 verse 12. It speaks about, the three world wars. Well, we're fastly approaching World War III, and World War III is going to be fought with burning and fuel of fire, okay? The burning and fuel of fire is ultimately going to come from the nuclear missiles, the ICBMs, on that day, on the day of our Lord, the day of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and it's going to result in America being completely and utterly destroyed off of the face of the earth, all right? Even at the hands of their own allies, again, according to Revelation 17 and 16. The burning and fuel of fire that I mentioned is pursuant to Isaiah 9 and verse 5. You can read that. All right, so, we're definitely living in a time of war. And there's plenty of scriptures that you can go to concerning World War III. Okay, like I quoted, you got Revelation 9 verse 12, Revelation 11 verse 14, Revelation 17 verse 16 on down, Revelation 16, Joel chapter 3 verse 9, verse 10, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 49, Isaiah 13. There's so many scriptures that we can go into concerning World War III, right? And that's the time that we're fastly approaching. Anyway, I'm going to play you this clip, and just know that we're living in that time of division. All right, you can look up Daniel 2 verse 43, a kingdom divided.
Well, the showdown, which Donald Trump acknowledged was sure to be great television, was obviously watched closely around the world, not least by the friends and foes of its protagonists, who tonight find themselves politically and diplomatically divided.
How many arguments, how many raised voices, how many pointed fingers has the Oval Office seen in the many decades it has been the most powerful office in the world? Well, never like this, where in front of the cameras a foreign leader fighting for the future of his country has refused to be diplomatic and left a president furious and his supporters spitting with outrage.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
In a sign of the deepening, definite diplomatic divide between Washington and Europe, support for the Ukrainian president across the Atlantic was immediate. Dear Ukrainian friends, you are not alone, said Poland's Prime Minister. Dear Vladimir, said Germany's most likely next leader, we stand with Ukraine in good and testing times. We must never confuse aggressor and victim in this terrible war.
Il y a un peuple agressé qui est l'Ukraine.
On a visit to Portugal tonight, President Macron looked forward to a meeting of Europe's leaders in London this weekend. When Ukraine comes under pressure, he said, Europeans must make sure we can provide it with what it needs. Further east, the reaction to what happened in Washington was nothing short of gleeful. The insolent pig finally got a slapdown in the Oval Office, said former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. And Donald Trump is right, he continued. The Kiev regime is gambling with World War III. In Ukraine, all this comes at the end of a week when Russia's bombardment of its cities has been as intense as ever.
President Zelensky, he was trying only to explain, to provide arguments, and he was in minority in this discussion. There was President Trump, J.D. Vance, the vice president, and he was alone. And he is not native speaker, but despite this, he was defending his country, his people. He has no choice, but to defend us.
Ever since he came to power, America and Europe have been united in their support for this man. In a few tense televised minutes in the White House today, that unity disintegrated, and Europe now faces questions about its security it hasn't had to answer for a lifetime. Geraint Vincent, News at 10.
If you see something, say something.